The faded leather-bound journal lay hidden for decades, its secrets locked away in a dusty attic in Berlin. As the afternoon sun filtered through the grimy window, illuminating specks of dust dancing in the air, an unsuspecting family stumbled upon a piece of history that would change everything we thought we knew about World War II. The year is 2025, and the world is about to be rocked by the discovery of the lost diary of Hans Müller, a high-ranking Nazi officer who defected to the Allies in the final days of the war. But this isn't just any defector's account. Hans Müller was Adolf Hitler's personal aide, privy to the Führer's most intimate thoughts and darkest secrets. This is the story of the lost diary of a Nazi defector, secrets he took to the grave. Our journey begins in the attic of the Schneider family home in Berlin. Lisa Schneider, a 32-year-old history teacher, had inherited the house from her grandmother. As she and her husband Michael sorted through decades of accumulated belongings, they came across a locked trunk. "Michael, can you help me with this?" Lisa called out, struggling with the rusted lock. With a creak and a groan, the trunk finally opened, revealing a treasure trove of old photographs, letters, and at the bottom, a worn leather journal. Lisa's hands trembled as she opened the diary. The first page bore a name she didn't recognize, Hans Müller. But as she flipped through the pages, her eyes widened in disbelief. Hans Müller was born in 1910 in a small village near Munich. The son of a decorated World War I veteran, Hans grew up in the tumultuous years of the Weimar Republic. Like many young Germans of his generation, he was drawn to the promises of the rising Nazi Party. In 1933, at the age of 23, Hans joined the SS, quickly rising through the ranks thanks to his intelligence and unwavering loyalty. By 1939, he had caught the eye of Adolf Hitler himself and was appointed as one of the Führer's personal aides. The diary entries from this period paint a picture of a man intoxicated by power and blinded by ideology. Hans writes of his pride in serving the Reich and his unwavering belief in Hitler's vision for a greater Germany. But as we turn the pages, we begin to see cracks in Hans's facade of loyalty. It was the summer of 1941 when Hans's world began to unravel. As Hitler's personal aide, he was privy to information that few others in the Reich had access to. In a chilling entry dated June 22, 1941, Hans writes, "Today, we invaded the Soviet Union. The Führer speaks of Lebensraum and the defeat of Bolshevism, but I've seen the plans. This is not just war, this is annihilation." From this point on, Hans's entries become increasingly conflicted. He writes of the atrocities he witnesses, the mass executions, the death camps. With each passing day, his doubt grows, eating away at his once unshakable faith in the Nazi cause. By early 1944, Hans had made up his mind. He could no longer be a part of the Nazi regime, but defecting was not a simple matter. As one of Hitler's closest aides, he was constantly under surveillance. In a heart-pounding entry from March 1944, Hans details his plan. "I've made contact with the American OSS through a Swiss intermediary. They've agreed to extract me, but the risk is enormous. If I'm caught, death would be a mercy compared to what awaits me." For months, Hans played a dangerous game of cat and mouse, gathering crucial intelligence while maintaining his facade of loyalty. His diary entries from this period are a masterclass in suspense, each day bringing him closer to either freedom or a gruesome death. On a cold night in January 1945, with the Red Army closing in on Berlin, Hans made his move. His diary entry from that night is brief but powerful. "Tonight, I leave everything behind. May God forgive me for what I've done, and give me strength for what I must do." What follows is a breathtaking account of Hans's escape. He describes slipping past SS guards, making his way through war-torn Germany, and finally crossing into Switzerland. With each step, he carried with him the weight of his knowledge, secrets that could change the course of history. Once in Allied hands, Hans underwent extensive debriefing. His diary entries from this period are a goldmine of historical information. He provides detailed accounts of Hitler's strategic decisions, the inner workings of the Nazi high command, and perhaps most shockingly, evidence of a secret Nazi program that had remained hidden for decades. In one particularly chilling entry, Hans writes, "They call it Die Glocke, the bell. I've seen it with my own eyes. If what they claim is true, it could alter the very fabric of reality. The Americans must never let this fall into Soviet hands." As the war came to an end, Hans found himself in a precarious position. He was a valuable asset to the Allies, but also a man with a target on his back. His diary entries reflect his growing paranoia. "I see shadows everywhere. Every unfamiliar face on the street could be a Nazi hunter. The secrets I carry are both my salvation and my curse." The Allied powers, recognizing the danger Hans was in, provided him with a new identity and relocated him to Argentina. It was there, in a small town on the Pampas, that Hans would spend the rest of his days. The last entry in Hans's diary is dated September 11, 2000. In it, he reflects on his life, the choices he made, and the secrets he kept. "As I near the end of my days, I am haunted by the ghosts of my past. The faces of those I couldn't save, the horrors I witnessed, the secrets I've kept. I've often wondered if I did enough, if my defection made a difference. But I know now that history is not for us to judge. We can only do what we believe is right in the moment and hope that future generations will understand. Hans Müller died 3 days later, taking his secrets to the grave, or so he thought. The discovery of Hans Müller's diary sent shockwaves through the historical community. It provided unprecedented insight into the Nazi regime's inner workings and forced us to reevaluate much of what we thought we knew about World War II. The diary's revelations about Die Glocke sparked a renewed interest in Nazi scientific experiments, leading to the discovery of long-lost research facilities in Poland and the Czech Republic. Historians and scientists are still debating the implications of these findings. But perhaps the most profound impact of Hans's diary is the human story it tells. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, individual conscience can prevail. Hans Müller's journey from Nazi true believer to Allied informant is a testament to the complexity of human nature and the power of moral awakening. The authenticity of Hans Müller's diary has not gone unchallenged. Some historians have questioned the veracity of his accounts, pointing out inconsistencies and arguing that certain details seem too convenient. Dr. Emma Rothschild, a prominent Holocaust historian, argues, while the diary provides a compelling narrative, we must approach it with caution. The Nazi regime was adept at creating disinformation, and we cannot rule out the possibility that this is an elaborate hoax. Others, like Dr. Klaus Schmidt of the Berlin Historical Society, defend the diary's authenticity. The level of detail in Müller's account, particularly regarding Hitler's personal habits and decision-making process, is consistent with what we know from other verified sources. It's unlikely that a forger could have created such a convincing narrative. The debate rages on, with scholars on both sides presenting evidence to support their claims. The truth, as is often the case in history, may lie somewhere in between. The discovery of Hans Müller's diary raises complex ethical questions. While his defection undoubtedly provided valuable intelligence to the Allies, can it absolve him of his earlier actions as a high-ranking Nazi official? Lisa Schneider, the woman who discovered the diary, grapples with this question. Reading Hans's words, I can't help but feel a mix of horror and sympathy. He was complicit in terrible crimes, but he also risked everything to do what he felt was right in the end. How do we judge such a man? This ethical dilemma extends beyond Hans Müller to all those who were part of the Nazi regime but later turned against it. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about redemption, forgiveness, and the nature of guilt. As we close the final page of Hans Müller's diary, we're left with more questions than answers. His account challenges our understanding of World War II, the Nazi regime, and the nature of loyalty and betrayal. But perhaps the most important legacy of Hans Müller's diary is the warning it provides for future generations. It shows us how easily ordinary people can be swept up in extremist ideologies, and how crucial it is to maintain our moral compass, even in the face of overwhelming pressure. The story of the lost diary of a Nazi defector is more than just a historical curiosity. It's a reminder of the power of individual choice, the weight of secrets, and the long shadow that the darkest chapters of history continue to cast over our world. As we grapple with the implications of Hans Müller's revelations, we're reminded that history is not a static thing, but a living, breathing entity that continues to evolve with each new discovery. Who knows what other secrets lie hidden in attics and archives around the world, waiting to be uncovered? The tale of Hans Müller and his lost diary serves as a powerful reminder that the past is never truly past. It continues to shape our present and future in ways we might never fully understand. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video intriguing, don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden histories and untold stories from World War II.